Evidence is growing about the fast spreading coronavirus variants. The global scientific community is discovering that some COVID-19 variants can evade the immune response triggered by the COVID-19 vaccines and previous infection.
My suspicion is that it will be quite variable with the variants, that some people may be completely protected, others will have partial protected, and some may lose protection because they didn't have a good enough response to start with. What we observed over time as a field was that there started to accumulate changes in the spike gene, which is the particular gene which makes the protein that allows the virus to enter the cell, but it's also the protein that's targeted by the immune system.
With those changes, virologist Dr. Michael Diamond at Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis started thinking about what's next.
When this starts to happen, we begin to worry that the immune system response that we've generated, if a new variant comes along, the variant might actually be able to escape the immune response. In other words, the immune response would not work as efficiently.
With the global effort to observe and follow changes in the sequence in the spike protein, Diamond stepped in to determine the significance.
We had serum from humans that were vaccinated. And then in this particular experiment, we took the serum from humans and then tested it against the variant viruses in cell culture systems.
And what he discovered is concerning. Looking at variants from South Africa, the United Kingdom, and Brazil, Diamond's research indicates the three fast-spreading variants of the virus that causes COVID-19 can evade antibodies that are produced in response to COVID-19 vaccinations, natural infections, or purified antibodies intended for use as drugs.
The most concerning variants that we're worried about, they really fall in two classes. The first class is the super highly transmissible variants, like the United Kingdom variant, which if you got infected with, even if you had a vaccine, maybe you're protected from severe disease, but it's possible you could still transmit that virus, meaning you don't have protection in your upper airway, you have protection in your lung, you have protection throughout your body, but you could still have some shedding in your upper airway, and then that virus could then be transmitted to people who are not yet vaccinated, or those who get really poor vaccine responses because they're old or they're immunocompromised. So that's one type of variant. The other variant, which is concerning as well, are ones that accumulate mutations in the spike gene that directly evade the immune response, like in South Africa or in Brazil. Originally, they're now throughout the world, and so they have number and nomenclature names like B1351 or B11248. These particular viral variants, they may not, the immune response that you generate against the vaccine may not be as effective.
So then what's the takeaway for everyone? People are getting vaccinated, but they're hearing that variants pose a threat.
You absolutely want to get vaccinated, because if you don't get any vaccine, you're not going to have any protection, and then you're going to be completely susceptible to some of these variants, which turn out to be even more transmissible and in some regards more pathogenic. Bad idea. So if you developed a really strong response to the vaccine, you're likely going to be protected against the variant. But if you generated a marginal response, you might have been protected against the original virus, but now you may no longer be protected against the variant. So it may be different for different people, different for different vaccine platforms, and it may be different whether you're thinking about protecting against transmissibility or protecting against severe disease. And for the scientists, I think what we want to know now is, as the virus changes, do we need to adapt our vaccines? Do we need to make changes to them, slight changes in the sequences to accommodate the new variants so that we can induce immune responses that protect against not only the old viruses, but also these new viruses? And so that's where there's a huge focus of research right now, is to try to figure out how do we change the existing vaccines very quickly such that we can induce immunity that protects against the current circulating viruses and variants, and hopefully future ones too.